What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another match preview, and it is a biggie this week. It is Tottenham against Liverpool in the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final. And yeah, look, every game that we progress into the Carabao Cup, we say this is our biggest game of the season.
Yep.
Well, this is most definitely our biggest game of the season. Can we take something to Anfield? All will be revealed in the match preview very, very soon. But we're going to get into a Tottenham update first and foremost. We've got some transfer situations to talk about, and also injury updates as well, where Ange has been going through the press conference, and also an update from Paul O'Keefe. But the injury situation at the moment, Richarlison is in training, but he said in the press conference we want him to have 2 solid weeks of training. So if he gets through next week, he'll be fine. Fraser Forster returned to training today, but it sounds like Brandon Austin or Antonin Kinski will start in goal against Liverpool. Mikey Moore could potentially be on the bench as well, as he's pretty much back. And Radu, Archie and Deki look like they've overcome sickness as well to be fine for the game tomorrow night. And Paul O'Keefe, in a worrying update, says that Odegaard is miles off and he's going to probably return late in the season.
Yeah, which is gutting, because you were expecting probably a February-ish return for him, and sounds like it's going to be even further than that, which maybe means why we're even more desperate to dip into the market for a forward. Not because as well we need probably an upgrade there as well, regardless of injuries, but with Odegaard out for so long, with Richarlison's fitness unreliable, albeit hopefully he'll be back next week. Yeah, we need another forward, so really, really worrying. Hopefully Mikey Moore, he can start making an impact again from his return, which is really, really good. Obviously, it's just the way things are going at the moment with Tottenham. You get Bentancur back, and then we lose Maddison and Sarr for a game. So 1 in, 2 out. It's just the way things are going for us at the moment. We can't seem to just get players back at any one time. Hopefully, for Tamworth, I bet you Tamworth we have a fit squad, and then come the North London Derby, we'll probably have some players out again. But that's just the way things are at the moment. In terms of Richarlison, it's interesting what you were saying about him, saying, you know, they're trying to be super careful with him, which is just what they said last time. But he said this time they're trying to make sure he has 2 kind of full weeks training before they bring him back into the fold. And he said this has been his first week, and next week will be the second week, and then they'll bring him back. So I wonder whether they'll bring him back in for the North London Derby, or be the game after that. I guess they'll bring him back in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends how he gets on in training as well. But I think the plan will probably be to take part, to be on the bench for the North London Derby.
Yeah, be on the bench for the Derby. That's what I would assume as well. So,
but you look at the Derby's only a week away. It's not 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's saying 2 weeks.
He said 2 weeks full training. So he's been in full training this week. So whether
has he been in the whole week, or has he just returned like in the last couple of days? I don't know. Maybe on the bench for the North London Derby, but there's still big games after that with Everton away and stuff like that. So whether it be the North London Derby or the game after, he's nearing a return.
Yeah, and you were saying we hope to have the defenders, some of the Davis, Van de Ven and Romero all back in a bit of a clump near the end of the month. So look, let's hope that they're... Look, we need them back. We know that.
Yeah.
It was interesting hearing him talk about left back, signing a left back in this window. He was saying, look, we're looking for someone who can help us right now, but we've got Davis who can play left back. Obviously, Spence is there at the moment as well, who we haven't really used. Hopefully, we'll have Romero, and also Van de Ven can play there when he's back as well. So he said, I guess we'll set it when the players are back, but hopefully we get a player in that position this month.
Yeah, you'd hope so. Yeah, so interesting stuff. Regarding on Ben Davies, I've heard that he's targeting a North London Derby return as well. So, yeah, I feel like Ben Davies will probably be the first of the defenders back, and then maybe later on in the month. I think they're going to err on the side of real caution with Mickey Van de Ven, and then Romero will come back a similar time as well. Son Heung-min, Spurs officially announced that they have triggered the extension in his contract, so he is going to be at Spurs at least guaranteed now for another season, which is very, very positive. I don't know why they've taken so long to announce it, to trigger it, and everything.
So long, haven't we?
I know, it's like all the journalists have been saying for the pretty much last 6 months that this contract's getting triggered, it's getting triggered. And yeah, it's finally official now. And Ange said in the press conferences, the main ambition is to make sure he finishes his career here with some silverware.
Yeah, I think that's what we all want. And I think that's obviously something that we're all clamouring for. I think it's a good thing. I think we should have given him a new deal. Obviously, I'm guessing his form this season has meant that we're not so sure about extending the deal rather than just giving him an extension. I always thought they'll just give him an extension given how things have gone this season. Not that he's been terrible, but obviously he hasn't been at his best. We know that, especially in the recent weeks. In terms of his numbers, I mean, they're still fairly strong. 5 goals and 6 assists, so 11 goal contributions in the first half of the season. It's not it's not bad, but, you know, Sonny, we know although some of the performances he's been anonymous, he's probably been worse than usual in some other performances as well, and especially right now, the past like 3-4 games, he's been in really, really bad form. So I think at this current stage, probably an extension is right, I would say. If he has let's say he has a really good end to the season, maybe at the end of the season, they'll talk about a contract extension if he does really, really well. Mike McGrath has even said that Barcelona were seriously sniffing around him this January for a pre-agreement if Tottenham didn't agree. And that's one of the ones I actually genuinely believe, because Barcelona are a club right now who are just so strapped for cash that and as much as obviously Sonny brings quality to their front line, but as well what he brings off the pitch will probably be very valuable to a club like Barcelona right now in terms of their financial situation. So I do really believe that link in terms of why they value the signing of Son so much.
We got, you know, with Rafinha and Yamal, and, you know, they've got other players in the forward line there. I'm looking at as well Barcelona. They could sign him all they want, but will they be able to register him?
I don't know. I mean, there's no transfer fee. Obviously, probably would there. It will be on a free, but the wages he'd demand. I don't know. That's my point is with their financial situation, with what Sonny would bring to them. I can understand why they'd be really interested, because he would bring a lot for them off the pitch in terms of a boost in revenue. But look, it hasn't happened. Sonny's going to be here for at least another 18 months, and that's really, really great. And let's hope we can break that silverware. That silverware drought. Yeah, let's hope we can break it, because if anyone deserves a trophy, it's Sonny, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
And I think he's still got so much to give. I think we've seen that.
I think so. Yeah, look, he's not having the greatest season, let's be real, but I still think, like, if you manage his minutes, he's going to have so much he's still got so much quality to give. And obviously he's doing his best work in kind of help Yang Min-hyuk bed into the club as well. And
clip.
Yeah, I did see that clip. With them training together. Yeah. So look, he's got a lot of quality to give. Is he the same player that we saw 3 years ago, 4 years ago? Obviously not. But does that mean that he's automatically just a bad player now? No chance. He's still a top quality player. And in terms of like finishing and quality wise, I think he's still, you know, one of the best, if not the best in the squad.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's talk about specific transfers now. And this next one, a publication out in Brazil, I think it was, says that Tottenham have had a bid rejected by Palmeiras for Colombian midfielder Richard Rios. Rios could remain in Brazil until the end of the season, when Palmeiras will plan to sell him after the FIFA Club World Cup this summer. I mean, look, I'll tell you the truth, I don't know much about him. I mean, I don't know anything about him, because before this report came out, I'd never heard of him before. But we are looking at that market, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know how true it is, because you hear some reports out in South America, and sometimes you know they're not so reliable. But
better than Turkey, mate.
That's mate, probably. But no one reliable in Europe anyway has been reporting on a bid rejected. However, if you take it at face value, he's a midfielder who's kind of can play in the 6, can play in the 8, has actually added quite a few goal contributions this season to his game as well. He seems to be really developing that side of his game, but he's also known as being a bit of a midfield destroyer. So maybe he's one of those players that we're looking at to add that bit more skill to midfield that we've been looking for. So I can understand why we're looking at midfield, although we've also heard that midfield's not a priority for us this window with our lack of numbers in defence and need for improvement in attack. So I wouldn't be surprised even if we did make a bid, it's more of a will we sign him with a view of him coming in the summer.
How old is he?
He's 24, I think.
Oh, he's 24, so he's not even like a proper youngster. Interesting. I mean, I'm seeing the reports as well doing the rounds that Juventus are looking to get rid of Douglas Luiz, and a few Premier League clubs are interested in him. I mean,
apparently 2 have made an inquiry. They didn't say which 2.
I know.
Probably Arsenal, because they were interested before.
Arsenal have been interested. Would he go back to Aston Villa?
But then again, Arsenal have already signed other players. They've signed Moreno now. They've got Rice and Partey. Do they really need him?
Yeah, but also Partey is in his last year of his contract, and we don't know what the future holds there.
Wouldn't be surprised. Maybe Chelsea. You know, they can add a number there.
Maybe, but I mean, I was thinking about it. I was like, Spurs need to be looking at that. They need to be looking at that. Imagine, like, I was thinking about the midfield options for Spurs, and I would right now, swap Bissouma and Bentancur for Douglas Luiz and Johnny Cardoso. I think that would be a great move for us to do.
I would take Douglas Luiz. I thought it was brilliant at Villa last year. I don't know why it hasn't worked with him at Juventus. Motta just hasn't fancied him at all. I don't know why, but I don't know whether it's they don't rate his off-the-ball abilities. We know on the ball he's brilliant, and he scored a lot of goals last season. I know a lot from penalties, but you see what ability he has on the ball. But off the ball, he's also quite feisty. Wasn't a passenger, so I wonder why it hasn't worked out at Juve.
Looking at that deal now that Villa did for Douglas Luiz in the summer, what was it? It was 21 million plus Beranchea and Iling Jr. It's like none of those three players have worked out.
Yeah, and if anything, Villa have been the big losers because they could do with Luiz, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, let's go back to more transfer news and let's go to the Daily Muani. As Ben Jacobs says that Tottenham are going to make a very strong push to get a deal for Kolo Muani over the line. David Ornstein says that Spurs see Kolo Muani as their top target for a versatile attacker, and Spurs want to loan him until the end of the season. And, you know, all the journalists now, Fabrizio Romano, Paul O'Keefe, David Ornstein, Benjay, like all the top journalists now are really trying to push this Muani to Spurs narrative.
Yeah, and I was listening to Ben Jacobs yesterday on Last One on Spurs and what he was saying, and he was saying that Man United have distanced themselves from Muani at the current time, but interesting enough, he said they distanced themselves because they only want him on a loan without obligation, and PSG are very much pushing an obligation. But if that's the case, do I see Tottenham going for an obligation to buy? I mean, I don't think they will, especially for the price probably PSG are looking for.
Apparently it's 50 million.
I think that Tottenham would very much be open to an option to buy. But I can't see Tottenham agreeing to an obligation, especially where for a player like Muani, where I don't think it's clear-cut whether he fits the system right now. I think if on loan right now, considering with the lack of options up front and the January market not being great, I think it makes sense to bring him on a loan and take a punt on it. But to sign him permanently, you know, what happens if we do this loan with an obligation and for 6 months he just stinks the place out and he actually really isn't the right fit? Then we're stuck with a £50 million player right there. So unless we do an obligation on the basis of like he has to, if he scores 10 goals, then it becomes an obligation. Or like, let's say if we get Champions League next season, then it becomes an obligation. On that basis, I think Tottenham will probably do that, to be honest.
That's not an obligation. If Spurs get Champions League next season, then it becomes an obligation.
You win Europa League or whatever, you have like a mad second half of the season, then I can see Tottenham doing that kind of deal, right? But I can't see Tottenham just doing a straight-up obligation to buy. I don't think. However, what also Ben Jacobs was saying was that the Tottenham, Daniel Levy has a really good relationship with the PSG chairman. He said they have a very close relationship, and he said if there's one chairman in Europe you'd want negotiating this deal with him in terms of getting a good deal for Tottenham because of their relationship, it would be Levy. So maybe they can iron out the certain financials.
You're saying he's the one chairman left in the game that Levy's got a good relationship with.
That's because he's not in the Premier League, that's for sure. And also, how many deals have we done with PSG? We signed Aurier from them. I can't remember too many other deals.
Lucas Moura,
yeah. So we're very good at taking their duds. Basically, we're very good at giving them money for players they don't want.
Stambouli come from there?
No, we sold them.
We sold him to them. Yeah.
So I think there's definitely legs in this, but I just look, unless there's those specifications I said, I just can't see us going for a straight obligation.
But it also depends how
that's another good point.
Internally, how much Spurs rate him. Like internally, they might, internally, Johan Lang, Paratici, Postecoglou might think he's, the absolute bollocks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they might.
And if they think that, then it might make sense to do it.
Yeah, and if they're convinced about it, then maybe we will. But I'm personally not. I'm not in the recruitment staff. This will just be my take. This is how I would do it. I wouldn't do it permanently. I would just do a loan. But maybe the recruitment are convinced by and think, look, if we have a chance, we have to grab it with both hands because this guy can really revolutionise our attack. I just can't see that right now. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do definitely think it's worth taking a punt on him because right now, in the January window, when it comes to getting forward players, as I've said before, it's a very hard market. You're looking at players either who are killing it for smaller teams, so you can get out of their clubs, but then you have to pay a premium, or you're looking for players who are out of favour at top clubs who you think could do a job for you, like we did with like Kulusevski and Bentancur. But with teams still in Europe, that's even hard to do as well. And there's not many players as good as like Muani out of favour at their clubs right now, who they're willing to let go. So, when one comes available, you have to look at it a lot. You have to basically, you have to give it a real serious look, I would say. So, I think that's what we're doing. And I think if we get a chance to get him on loan, I would do it.
Yeah. Next up, we're going to talk about Liam Delap, as Ben Jacobs says that Tottenham are very impressed with Liam Delap. There will be several clubs interested in the Ipswich Town striker. However, Chelsea will be the early front runners, but don't discount Spurs, is what he's saying. I mean, I think Delap is top quality. The more and more I see him play this season, the more and more I like him.
Perfect
Physical,
for us, I think.
physical number 9, really good in the air, young player as well. Premier League, it's like he's proper swimming in the Premier League as well, in an Ipswich team that's fighting down the bottom. And I'd love to see him at Spurs. I really would.
I would as well. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I think his strength and his powerful running is something that I can't see too many strikers doing right now, in terms of so much work he has to do by himself in that front line for Ipswich, and he just does it week in, week out until such a high standard. That performance against Chelsea really convinced me that this guy is going right, could be going right to the top. He's got unbelievable shooting, technique as well. The power he gets behind his shots from all angles. He's not scared to let fly, and he usually gets it on target and forces keepers to make a save, or obviously buries his efforts. And what he's doing for Ipswich this season is absolutely fantastic. I think as well, the work rate he goes through is absolutely brilliant. I think he's absolutely perfect for the number 9. Obviously, if we get Muani and we still got Richarlison, and obviously we've got Solanke up front, it's hard for me to envisage we sign another number 9 with that scenario. But if we mould Muani into more of a wide forward, and then obviously if Richarlison is out the door in the summer, then maybe that's one we'll look at. But I think as long as we have those 3, I see it. I mean, if we do get Muani, that is, I see it hard to envisage Delap being an option.
The thing is with Muani, if you mould him into a wide player, he can't. Like, Muani's not going to be a touchline winger. You need to make him like an inside forward, and that's not really Ange's system.
Well, you can do. I think he could do what Brennan does. Those back post finishes. I think Brennan this season's actually not been as wide as he was last season. He's definitely been in the penalty area a lot more. And if that's what he's trying to do with him, I think Muani could do that role.
He's rapid, Muani, isn't he?
He's fast.
Rapid.
He's strong. I do think technique-wise, in terms of his technical abilities, still. I know he's 26, and I don't want to call him raw, because at 26 you shouldn't be raw. That's kind of who you are. But I think technical ability-wise, it's not amazing, I would say.
Next, we're going to talk about Davide Fratesi. Bleacher Report says that Tottenham were presented with the opportunity to sign Milan midfielder Davide Fratesi this month. However, the player has rejected the move and wishes to remain in Italy.
So, I mean, it doesn't say that we were interested. It says we were presented the opportunity to sign him. So I don't know how much we were interested, but it also says he was the one who rejected the move. Either way, it tells me it's not probably happening. So
it's most definitely not happening.
So either way, I think, as we said, Fratesi is a good midfielder. I like him. Really good technical player. But I've heard, as we've said before, I don't think midfield is a priority this window.
And last but not least, another move that's not happening, and that is Abdul Qadir Kuzanov. As the Athletic report that Lions are looking for a deal in excess of 40 million euros, which means Tottenham are not expected to battle for the 20-year-old defender as things stand.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think Kuzanov clearly is a talent. He's got unbelievable pace.
Looks like he might be going to City.
Could be going to City. I mean, I'm still not convinced he's there yet. I think he's still a very raw talent, I think, Kuzanov. I think on the ball especially, he's brave, but I'm not sure the quality is quite there. Clearly, his technical ability is not technical. His physical attributes are unbelievable. But is it a lot of age?
You were saying Mickey van der Ven was a raw talent when we signed him, though.
He was a raw talent, but he'd also played a lot in the... Look, he played a whole season in the Bundesliga, was really good. Look, he also was a raw talent, and he turned out to be very, very good. I also think he's still got a lot of improving to do, Mickey. I don't think he's perfect, but he's clearly brilliant. Look, Kuzanov, I think he's also a bit younger than Mickey, a couple of years younger. I would take a backup to Mickey for sure, but I don't know. Look, if he's 40 million, I'm not the one spending the money, but I still think I'm not 100% sure about him right now.
I would love to see him through the door. Just that pace. Just thinking of a back two of Mickey and Kuzanov. Literally, you can play on the opposition's box, edge of the opposition's box, and still have players to get back in time. But that's just me. But it looks like he is a big target for Manchester City for this January transfer window. So it looks like we will miss the boat on that one. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories we brought to you today.